This programme is brought to you by vinny.co.uk.
It's December. We're now nearly into March, Simon. They've had to wait their time, and Rob, of course, only found out he was back in the competition as of yesterday, but what an opportunity for them both here to try and stake their claim for a place in finals night as we get underway. We'll have the format explained to you just about now. We've got 4 players here tonight. They'll all play each other over 20-minute matches with a 20-second shot clock. The winner is the first to 4 frames, or the winning player at 0 seconds left on the clock, whichever one comes first. There can be draws. They can certainly spice things up when it comes to the league table at the end of the night. 2 points for a win, 1 for a draw, none for a defeat. And if we are level at the end of the night, there will be a 6 red shootout. The kicker for this evening, which is different to what we've seen so far, 2 players, Simon, qualified from 4 as opposed to 1, which of course means a bit more opportunity, but it also means for us, the neutrals, a real opportunity. The odds decrease rather of that 6 red shootout, which we almost had a couple of weeks now, but we're desperate to see one.
Yeah, I think it's highly likely. If it's not tonight, it'll be next week. You know, it's not just it's also if the top 2 players finish tied, there'll still be a 6 red shootout to determine which one's 1 and which one's 2 as we go into finals night. The seeding going through will make a difference for finals night, so I think there's a good chance we'll see one.
Well, Rob's got off to a great start, as you can see, straight into his work on yellows. He's got the 8 ball here to go 1-0 up, and that was absolutely no trouble. Tap of the knee from Aaron Davies. Rob Wharne races into a 1-0 lead with no time at all gone. Lovely work from him, and he goes 1-0 up. Great start.
Brilliant start, wasn't it? He's just a decent break. Last ball moving dropped in, which is always difficult for the opponent to see, but then he took full advantage.
Well, Wharne, as he's known, is a real player to watch. A terrific record. He's won the Supreme Masters in his history. He's a 2-time national amateur champion, as well as a world champion with England in team competition. And he's got good experience at a really high level.
Aaron Davies
saw earlier on in this competition, we'll keep going back to it. Yes, he finished second in his group, but it was by such a small margin that, I mean, not for me to call bookies odds, Simon, but 10-1 seemed outrageously long odds to win the group. Yes, it's very difficult, as Aaron very nearly pots the 8 ball to win it, but that's long odds for a player of his quality. It's not reflective of his ability in comparison to the other 3, as good as they are.
Yeah, I think it's a touch long. It wouldn't be a surprise to see him go through tonight to win the group, but I also think that he could approach tonight in a bit of a free roll, really. 24 hours ago, he wasn't in the competition. 24 hours ago, he was planning to be watching this from home. And all of a sudden, he's back out there and he's still in with a chance of winning this competition. So he might just relax and really play his best stuff. We've also seen, I think, from him, probably one of the best matches in the tournament so far. 3 break dishes and also one of the best clearances we've seen in the whole competition to defeat Jimmy Croxton 4-1. So he's really showed what he could do in that match.
Start of this frame, though, is it's a bit iffy for both players. Intentionally so. It came off the break from Aaron. Didn't connect with it at all well. Really potted the 8 ball, but you can just see the split the balls. 90% of them tracking towards the left side cushion. It means yellows are a nightmare, and that's why both players took on reds. Aaron taking on a horrifically difficult plant just to try and get something going, but Robbers managed to choose reds, but even then, it's not easy. He's now opened it up a touch, probably to the point now where Aaron will feel like he has to go for these yellows.
Yeah, that was a loose one for me from Rob. He really did not want to open up those 2 yellows. These yellows have all come out. And this is a great opportunity for Aaron when it looked like it was going to be really tight and a drawn-out tactical battle. All of a sudden, good chance.
He scored his extension. Each player gets one of these a match. 20-second a shot is very, very quick on the shot clock. And every frame here is going to be so crucial. I was thinking about it on the way over, I must say. And I was thinking with the standard of players we've got in our quarterfinals, you know, both tonight and next week, I don't know about you, Si, but it just feels to me like it will come down to mistakes. It's almost like you have to try and play flawless pool, which of course everyone tries to do anyway. But any mistake you know will be punished. That's the quality on the other side of the table always. It may just come down to who makes the fewest mistakes. It might not come down to the person who plays the best or the person who has the most chances. Maybe it'll come down to the one who makes the least mistakes.
I think you could well be right. I think also the other thing is that we've seen in most weeks the difference between, you know, the player that's finished top of the group and qualified through and the players that have gone out has come down to a really fine margin, whether that's one mistake or a missed double or a missed pot or whatever it might be. I feel like we've seen that just about every single week where it's been such a fine margin. You know, and both these players had that happen in their groups. You know, Aaron was one frame away from being in a 6-thread shootout himself, and obviously Rob, you know, just missed out and finished second in his group, but it was on, you know, one match and which hinged on 1 or 2 shots with Josh Kane. The other thing, when you look back at the previous groups and you say that, you know, Aaron was one frame away from being in a 6-thread shootout, but he also played a brilliant night of pool. A couple of mistakes in his first match, and after that he was so solid and almost flawless. So it just shows you how high the standard is.
Yeah, it's a crazy standard, it really is.
Frame.
But Aaron Davies gets things level on the scoreboard. It's 1 each and a decent response. It was a slight mistake in the safety battle from Rob Wharne that let Screech in, but the 23-year-old made no mistake from there. He is still so young, Aaron Davies. It's easy to forget that. He was a World Championship finalist in 2020. Always get my years wrong because of 2020 not being a real year, but 2020 he was the World Championship finalist. He's been a World Masters semi-finalist, a World and European Under-18 champion. He's a phenomenal young player, and I know for you, Simon, you're personally a big fan of his. Just for the way I think he conducts himself around the table, would that be fair? He's got such an impeccable temperament.
Great temperament, but also I like the way he goes about his work. He really, I think the style of play, he doesn't chase it if it's not there. He'll play the right shot, wait for the right opportunity, and then when he gets it, he's clinical. I think it's such a great way to play. That doesn't mean he's negative. He certainly isn't. He's still a very attacking player, but he just, when he goes for it, he makes sure he gets it.
Yeah, you saw that a little bit in that frame that you just won there. It was clinical, wasn't it? Very seldom tends to make a mistake, and when he's at his best, he's delightful to watch. Rob there with the attempted clearance here. He got a great break. You can see the 8-ball on the move again. Reminder, 8-ball off the break, you do win the frame. 8-ball and the key ball, you'll lose it. We saw the first one of those ever last week with Declan Brennan. But both players here seem like they are in a pretty decent frame of mind. Rob just having to do a little bit of hard work here. But if his double goes in, he's back in business. And it hasn't, and in fact he was a long way off it. And we mentioned, didn't we, mistakes could be crucial, and that is one from Rob Wharne. It's not a big one, but you just get the sense that any time you don't clear, you could really be made to regret it.
It's his position up the table, actually. I don't think his plan was ever to play the double. He wanted to try and nudge it out towards the middle pocket, didn't get the angle he needed and wasn't able to do so, and then landed on the double, so had to play it. But I'm surprised he missed it by so far. You know, if the double stays near the pocket, at least it's causing some problems for Aaron, but the fact it's gone across and tied up another red at the top of the table just makes Aaron's job of clearing these up just that little bit easier. It takes some of the pressure off the clearance. Not that Aaron really needs that, because you know, he's opened these up really quickly, and expect him to make this clearance.
It's a lovely shot that, wasn't it? It really was. And this is the sort of thing that when Aaron Davies is in the mood, he's so tough to stop. Sort of form that got him to that World Championship final last year, around about this time last year, in fact. And he has experience now in this format. He played in the Super Series, looked good there. Played in a 4-1 money match showdown to this sort of shot clock. Obviously played through the group stages. You can see there he's with his last shot. He's happy to just jog around the table. He's sort of got his timings down now. He's comfortable to go around and have that little extra look that makes him feel comfortable.
I agree, and we're yet to see him lose in this format here on Free Sports. He's played in, as you said, a few events, and we've yet to see him taste defeat.
Super work from Aaron Davies, 2-1, and with the next break in his back pocket, that could be a pretty good sign for Screech. He said he's been watching all of the weeks pass by. I said, has it felt like a long break? And he said, yeah, absolutely, but he's been watching every week to suss out the competition. He said he's absolutely been loving it, and as I said to him, that makes two of us. He's particularly impressed with the... felt like the competition really took off with the golden break rather, of David McMara against Craig Lake, and said since then it seems like it's just been taken up a notch. Actually, I'd not really thought about it like that, but I was inclined to agree.
Yeah, I've had a few people mention it that to me, and I kind of agree. That seems to... There's a lot of interest. This has really grown, and there's a real buzz for this event. It's interesting you mentioned, look at the 8-ball on the move again, and a very similar break to his first break as well, all the balls to the left-hand side. But just saying that Aaron's had to wait a long time after getting through. In fact, all four of these players have, because they were the first four groups to play in this competition. And normally, most competitions are played over 1 or 2 days at most. So you get into your rhythm, you play a match, you might get half an hour off, then you go again. And, it's unusual to have to wait so long, and the competition feels so drawn out. But it doesn't look like either of these players are feeling any effects from that.
Yeah, once again, Aaron is forced into a pretty long punt on a plant. It's a clever shot from
Yellow
Rob.
ball's in play.
And I'll tell you what, these yellows now don't look too bad. It seems to be the way that Aaron's been leaving these breaks, that whilst they look pretty horrible when they're all on that left side, it only takes a couple of shots and before they start to look pretty good again. And Rob's played the safety here, played the percentages. Not sure if Aaron can figure out some kind of plan. Might be that he can play red onto yellow into the middle. Is that what he's looking at?
Doesn't look to be on to me. Oh, brilliant. Wow.
Red onto red it was, and into the middle pocket. And these reds now have opened up beautifully.
That was an excellent shot. That was hard to work out. He had to use a little bit of the yellow, a little bit of the red. Complete control as well. The problem that Rob had is that the shot that he played, where I don't think he was really trying to pop the yellow in the centre, it just sort of went in, then had to play the safety. But the problem he had was all the reds pinged open, and he was only able to block one of them up, and Aaron's negotiated that first shot. So all of a sudden, what looked a messy table and a difficult opportunity, Aaron is in complete control, and it's really hard to see how he can go wrong from here.
And this is the sort of standard that we'll see tonight. We've got Rob Wharne and Aaron Davies for our first match. Phil Harrison, Neil Raybone, match 2, yes please.
Yeah, and with the bookies, the two favourites for tonight's group, which is, everyone can make their own minds up on that, but, two of the best players at the moment.
It really is two fantastic quarterfinal lineups, and it's a quarterfinal in name only, I guess. It's not a traditional quarterfinal in many senses, but it is the last 8, so we'll call it the quarters. We'll make a finals night, and what a night that will be. Both of these players would dearly love to be a part of it. Aaron Davies has made good strides towards ensuring that. He's got 8 minutes and 22 seconds with wicks left to play, and he is 3-1 up. And this was the shot that opened it all up, and this is top quality.
Look at the way he has to use the yellow to get the angle going onto the red to make it work. It's just really good vision. I didn't think the shot was on because I was looking at the red straight onto the next red, and I didn't think he could get thin enough on the red. But the way he played it, absolutely fantastic.
A reminder of how all these guys got here. This is the first 4 groups of the Champions League and who they came through. Aaron Davies coming through, Andy Cragg, Oli Bale and John Sullivan. Sam Birchler, Rob Shilson, Zach Shepherd were dispatched by Phil Harrison, and Neil Rayburn taking a really tough group against John Rowe, Brian Halcrow and Jordan Shepherd.
3 frames to 1.
Rob Wharne, of course, finishing second in group number 1. Against Jimmy Croxton, Martin McIntosh and Josh Kane. Well, if Rob is to get himself back into this one with 8 minutes left, and there is still plenty of time, breaks like that will help him quite a bit. This is set beautifully.
Red ball's in play.
He is really crunching that break.
He is, isn't he?
He really is, hitting it well. We saw him break beautifully in Group 1. Made a number of break dishes.
It's such a weapon for him, isn't it?
It really is. And a rare occasion where we saw a player make 3 consecutive break dishes, thanks to a foul break from his opponent. The ball's getting re-racked.
And it's come out to a point where it's come out so nicely that he can really rattle through this frame. Not sure that 8 ball has gone exactly where he wanted it.
Yeah, that was a loose shot, isn't it? That 8 ball's tied everything up. It's really hard to... I don't think there's enough room to land on that red to the top right. Even if he got as far back as the cushion, I don't think there's enough room. It doesn't go to the top left. He can't get on it into the centre pockets easily. Is there a room here? Maybe needs to play this with an awful lot of side and turn it in.
Oh, this is...
Look at hit cueing this with a lot of left-hand side. Yeah, and didn't get enough. Look at the cue ball spinning, but he still wasn't able to get enough on it. And second time in this match that he's taken on the first visit finish and not made it, and Aaron comes to the table with, you know, a wide open chance to counter clear and take the frame. And you know, these are the sort of situations that Aaron is just so good at.
Well, this is what we said, isn't it? One mistake and you will be punished tonight. There's just too much quality on the other side of the table. Wherever you look, whether it be Rob himself, whether it be Aaron, whether it be Phil, whether it be Neil, such quality players, and the reason why they're so good is they do this so well. They don't let up on opponents' mistakes. And Rob hasn't done an awful lot wrong in this match, he really hasn't. But it looks like he's about to lose it 4-1. That's the sort of margin of error. There isn't any.
No, and the 8 ball doesn't go to the top right. It's just saying the angle he has to leave on his last ball is important. Make sure he has an angle he can drift up the table to take the 8 ball into the centre. But you know, he's got the whole of the top half of the table to play in, so it's not too much of a worry for him.
It's just lining this one up just to be sure.
He did have a quick look to see if the 8 ball does pass the red to the top right. It does look tight. I don't think it goes. Might have half a pocket, but I don't think he'll play it in that pocket.
He's got enough angle here to get himself up the table, I think, fairly comfortably. Cue ball has been on a string the whole match, really, from Aaron. This has been a really impressive opening match from him. Just what he would have wanted to lay down as a form of marker. I'll say to Phil Harrison and Neil Rayburn, who'll be watching in the practice room, that he is here to play. Aaron Davies takes the first win of the quarterfinal night here with a commanding victory over Rob Wharne. As you mentioned, precious little wrong from Rob, but he has been fairly handily dispatched in the end.
Yeah, and looking at the stats there, you know, the only missed pot for Aaron, I think, was a long plant, which is particularly a little bit harsh for the statistician to put that down as a missed pot. But from Rob, you know, he's chased 2 finishes from the break. He probably broke better than Aaron did in this match, but he didn't take 2 of his chances when he had them off the break and opened the frames up for Aaron. And Aaron was so clinical, and you know, that is why a lot of people are talking about Aaron and winning this group.
Yeah, and not just winning the group, but winning the whole tournament as well. Fantastic stuff from Aaron Davies, and we've got plenty more where that came from this evening. Next up, it's Neil Rayburn against Phil Harrison. Don't go anywhere.
This programme is brought to you by Vinny.co.uk.